Our New York Post NFL reporter Ryan Dunleavy is back east and marked safe after a crazy week at the Combine. So let's get his Combine risers and fallers as we get ready for Pro Days, which come up next week. Ryan, what's going on, my man?
What's up, Brandon?
You recovered? You are good? You ready for this
Yeah, it
interview?
was a
We're good to go.
long week in Indy followed by a long weekend with the kids, buddy. What's going
Okay,
on?
all right. Let's get you some Dunkin' Donuts, not some Starbucks, to pep you up a little bit. All right, a little inside joke there. All right, the floor is yours. Who are your risers?
Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback from Kentucky. Everybody knows he ran the fastest 40-yard dash time of 4.28 at the combine, but I also talked to some defensive coaches who said he was probably the most impressive prospect that they met with behind closed doors. So I think he's a guy who was on the late first round, early second round border going in, and especially after he had a shoulder injury last year, I think he pushed himself in. He could sneak inside the top 20 in a cornerback class that's not very top heavy. So he could be a big mover. I think when you saw the top quarterbacks didn't throw, you start to wonder like, oh, well, who's going to impress? I think Tyler Shaw, the quarterback at Louisville, impressed. There's a chance. I know everybody thinks that Jackson Dart's going to be QB3. I wouldn't be surprised if the Louisville quarterback moves up. He had an impressive Senior Bowl. People have been talking about him since then. He did well at the combine, and the buzz was that it's okay that he's 25 years old. That's in the past that used to be a knock, but teams now see it as like, hey, if I can get 8, 9 good years out of a 25-year-old, what do I care? That's 8 or 9 good years. I don't need a 15-year quarterback anymore. So he's somebody I think has starter potential in the NFL, and I think he'll benefit from how well Bo Nix did as a rookie, as an older quarterback coming into the NFL. And then a third riser I would say is Matthew Golden, the receiver from Texas. He ran a 4.29. 40-yard dash. I think he definitely jumped over Luther Burden as the second receiver to go in this class, and he actually might have jumped over Tetaroya, I believe is how you pronounce it, McMillan
Yep.
from Arizona. There's a chance Matthew Golden might actually be the first wide receiver taken in this draft, perhaps maybe top 10, top 12, something like that. And that's obviously with counting two-way star Travis Hunter as a cornerback.
And when you talked about the Louisville quarterback, Tyler, he's that prototypical quarterback for the NFL. 6'5", 225, 2020 Rose Bowl MVP. I mean, he's got so many accolades. I can see why he would rise up the board. And when you see some of the performances of some of the quarterbacks, I'm sure you'll probably get into some of those guys shortly. Stock really rose. A lot of people on Twitter was talking about this kid really made himself some money. On the flip side of things, man, guys show up that whether it's the moment too big, their body isn't feeling right, but they show up to Indy and they just don't put on their best performance. So who would you say stock dropped after the combine?
It's not even so much performance, Brandon. Sometimes it's just the testing numbers are wacky. Like Oregon receiver Tej Johnson, he's like lightning in a bottle, but he weighed 154 pounds
Yeah.
at the combine, and he only ran a 4.5 140. Like if you're gonna weigh up 154 pounds, you better run like 4.2s. If you're gonna run a 4.5, you better weigh 180. Like is a very odd body type in testing for Tej Johnson. Again, I think he's an explosive player, but if you're that slight, you gotta run a faster time. So he's gonna have to have a good pro day. He's gonna have to maybe put on a little bit of weight. Another guy, local guy, Kyle Manungai, who's a if you've ever watched Rutgers play football, you know this guy does everything on film. I mean, he's an absolute beast. Uh, but didn't test well. I think he ran a 4.6 40-yard dash. Second lowest vertical jump of all running backs was like 34 and a half, and like the fourth lowest broad jump, 9.9. So like he's small and dense and compact, but you can do that in the NFL. He's built to take a beating, but he didn't test well. Makes me think maybe like he'll slip to like a late round pick, but as we know, running backs in the NFL, you can get a starter. You don't have to look past Rutgers' own bloodline for Isaiah Pacheco and what he's done for the Chiefs. So he's a guy who could slip late in a very, very, very deep running back class, and you'll get a productive starter. And then some odd ones, some first round caliber offensive linemen like Will Campbell's arms tested like 32 and 3/4 arm length. That'll scare people. And the top guard in the class from Alabama, uh, his testing numbers scared some people off, I think. So again, pro Tyler Booker. So he'll probably still end up being the top guard. I don't know how much people really care about 40-yard dash times for offensive linemen. I think we've seen with like an Orlando Brown or something that doesn't really matter. It's how powerful you are. But I think Booker and Campbell will both be first round picks, but just maybe not as high as they would have been before the combine.
Yeah, when we're talking about Tez Johnson at 154, I don't think people really understand how small that is when we're talking about grown men. And if there's a knock on Travis Hunter that he's 185 and they're thinking he could be too small for the NFL, just think of what 30 pounds lighter is, and you don't have that speed to run away from people. Same thing. I was kind of disappointed with Manungai because, like you said, at 5'8", 5'9", to be that small, yes, you could be compact. I wanted to see him catch the ball better. He had a couple of drops during the on the field, and you're looking, especially when you're rooting for a guy, a local guy, and you're looking at him and he puts that ball on the ground. You're like, come on, man, like you just dropped. You could have dropped 50K right there. All right, that one's 75K. So those are two guys that. Go ahead.
You know how running back is, Brandon. Some team will draft him, play him on first and second down, and pair him with a pass catching third down running back and
Yep. Yep.
have a committee.
Yep, yep. I mean, yeah, if you think with the Giants, it could still work with the Giants because you got Tyrone Tracy Jr. that can do it all, and then maybe he be kind of like that short yardage back or whatever. But it reminds me of Gary Brightwell, maybe, or he may have to play special teams in order to crack the rotation or even the starting lineup. All right, now that the combine's over, it's time to look ahead to the pro days. Who would you say, or who are some of the guys on your list, Ryan, that have some pro days coming up that they got a lot riding on that pro day?
I don't think we have to overthink this one, Brandon. It's the quarterbacks who didn't throw at the combine, right? So it's Cam Ward at Miami's pro day. It's Shador Sanders especially. Shador Sanders has passed up on multiple opportunities to throw at the Shrine Bowl, at the combine. Uh, so he's obviously did not play well in his bowl game. So he didn't throw in the company of others where he would be measured up. He's going to throw in his familiar sounding surroundings in Boulder on combine. Actually, the Big 12 has a Big 12 conference wide combine. I'd be surprised if Shador Sanders did that too. So he actually might sit out 3 times. So no, I think he has to have a good pro day. Cam Ward has to have a good pro day. All the top prospects who did not compete at the combine, I think those guys are the guys that need to have strong pro days.
Lastly, Ryan, real quick, coming out of the combine and out of Indianapolis, did you get any feel that the Giants or the Jets could do anything with the third overall pick or the seventh? Maybe trade up, trade back.
Oh, I think the Giants will trade up. I've always thought that. I've said that many times. I think the Giants will trade up to the highest available pick. Now, if the Titans and Browns decide the picks aren't available, then there's nothing you can do. But if either one of those teams wants to move out, I think the Giants will move up 1 or 2 spots. I think they're in the position to do it. They need the quarterback. They can't take a chance, and the team moving down won't want to trade out of position to get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who are clearly the 2 best prospects in this draft. So if you trade down to 6 or 7, if you're one of those teams, you're not going to get a generational player necessarily. So I think the Giants definitely will trade up. I think the Jets will probably end up sticking and picking.
All right, Joe Shane, after missing out on Matthew Stafford, might have to do the Shane shuffle and take a big swing at Cam Ward or Shador Sanders. Ryan Dunleavy, glad you're back, man. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks, Brandon.